Businesses need to be taking water scarcity and water security very seriously. A, for the operational impacts that it could have on your business. So increases in input costs, the stability of your operations in the country, the impact that it'll have on manufacturing, coupled with high input costs from an electricity point of view, coupled with high labor costs. This will all make manufacturing and industry in South Africa kind of less competitive, is probably the best way to put it. So from an operational point of view, there's considerations there that business need to take into account. But there's two others that are rarely mentioned, and the first is regulatory impact. So we can see going into the future that government will start to realize the impact that water has from a social point of view, which was the point that was well made by the panel. And government will then start to regulate the way we as individuals and industry and business start to use water. And from a business point of view, the regulatory risk that's posed to businesses needs to be taken into account now and you need to start thinking and planning around that sort of regulatory risk. And then the last point is your social or reputational risk. Ultimately, water is a necessity. It's what we all need to live. And when water becomes scarce, it creates the issue of where is the water going? Is it going to the mine down the road? Is it coming to my house? I need the water for myself and my family. It raises social tension. It creates security problems. It creates real social fabric issues that businesses need to start considering. And while we can say that this is to a certain extent limited to certain types of businesses, heavy users of water, I'd like to say that generally business in South Africa need to start considering all three of these aspects very, very seriously. Ultimately, we know water has been on the global agenda for the last, probably 10 years. The World Economic Forum has put water scarcity as one of their top 4 priorities for the last 4 years in a row. The number one risk facing the world globally is water scarcity. South Africa has now cottoned on to this, South African business, I should say, has cottoned on to this idea that water scarcity is a real challenge. And in a way, it's almost a silver lining from the power problems that we've had, where we as business in South Africa have realized that we need to make plans now for the failure of certain things, certain infrastructure things that we've just taken for granted in the past.